This week, I want to show you guys everything that we have going on around the farm, the food that we're raising, what we got growing in the garden, and just throw together some farm fresh meals using ingredients that we raise completely here on the farm. That is one of my favorite ways to cook, and I just love making meals using all these ingredients that we work so hard to raise. And of course, as always, the very first thing I need to do here this morning is get outside and do the chores. So in each season on the farm, we always have a lot of different things going on, but there seems to always be some slow weeks amongst the busy times. And this is actually one of those weeks. We no longer have meat chickens out on pasture. We just have baby chicks in the brooder, so they're really easy to take care of. Our cows are not in full rotation right now. We have a big field that we planted some spring oats. On that particular field, we don't have water or the infrastructure to rotationally graze them right now. So they're just out on one big area for a couple weeks. And all I have to do is just ride out there every day and check on them. There's really no chores with the cattle right now. So we have come to a slow spot during the summertime, which is rare, but there are always weeks like this. Kind of gives you a break and you can take a little bit of a breath amongst this really busy time of year. My mornings with Lori, our family milk cow, have been going really well. I'm kind of settling in to the routine of milking, and Lori is also just getting really good and settled into this routine. She pretty much is waiting for me every morning at the gate for me to bring her up into the stanchion and get her milked out. I shared a video just a couple weeks ago all about my morning routine with Lori and kind of went more in depth on how I milk her out every morning. And in this week's video, I want to share what I've been doing with some of this farm fresh milk, just trying to work through it. So she just freshened, which means she just had a baby, and she's kind of at the peak of her production from what I understand. And most mornings I get about 4 jars, so that's 2 gallons worth. And she's also raising the calf. I have not separated Ruby Ann from her at all, not even at night. So she's still giving me quite a bit of milk, more than our family can work through. And being it's a slower week here on the farm, I needed to get some yogurt going, some smoothies, and kind of just make a plan to work through all of this milk so that nothing goes to waste. This summer, we have been enjoying the beautiful evenings outside so far, and we actually have plans to create a whole outdoor area. So we want to put in a patio, add some picnic tables, and just create like the perfect space to relax and enjoy these summer nights. I don't think any outdoor space is complete without a nice fire pit, which is why I want to thank the sponsor of this week's video, and that is Bali Outdoors. This smokeless fire pit from Bali Outdoors really upgrades your backyard experience with a high performance grill and a smokeless bonfire, so you won't walk away with your clothes smelling like smoke. You can make a fire using wood pellets, which gives you the absolute best smokeless performance, or just using classic fire logs. Features like the 2-in-1 grilling station and the removable ashtray are a game changer from just your standard fire pit. The stainless steel grate is heavy duty and turns the fire pit into a high sear station for steaks, kebabs, burgers, all the fun things you want to make out on the fire this summer. We love cooking outside on these summer nights, and the removable ashtray feature on this fire pit makes cleaning it up so easy. Also, the sturdy three-legged design keeps the heat up off the ground, so this is safe to set out on your patio, a deck, or even your lawn. I love the aesthetics that a fire pit adds to an outdoor space, and I can't wait to build my outdoor area to incorporate this fire pit as the centerpiece. If you're also looking to upgrade your outdoor space this summer, be sure to check out the link in my description to learn more about the Bali Outdoors Smokeless Fire Pit. Thank you so much to Bali Outdoors for sponsoring this week's video. I think that is the biggest thing when you start raising so many things on your own farm and also a big garden is it's a learning curve to make sure you're using all of this food that you're raising. I certainly don't want any of it to go to waste. And now having the milk cow, it's learning all about trying to make more of our own dairy products and working through all of this milk. I've had a lot of yogurt making going on, pretty much been keeping batches in my Instant Pot because that is just a great way to use up a lot of milk. It's pretty much 1 for 1. A 1 gallon of milk makes 1 gallon of yogurt. Fortunately, my family really likes yogurt and we've been enjoying a lot of smoothies lately. I'm also looking forward to experimenting with some cheese making. I ordered a book, Cheese Making from Scratch, and I also ordered some of the ingredients and starter cultures that I need to start doing that as well, because I quickly found out that not only milking the cow is a job, but also learning how to use all of this farm fresh milk. The yogurt is really such a simple process. I've been playing with a few different ways of doing it. I tried the raw milk yogurt, but it was just too thin and it really didn't turn out as good. So I started boiling the whole batch and then adding in the yogurt starter culture to get a little bit thicker and better of a texture, and that seems to be working a little better for us. And even though it's such a simple process, it is one you kind of have to be around the house for, because you have to first heat the milk up and then you have to remove it from the Instant Pot, let it pretty much cool back down, and then add in your starter. From there, though, it's totally hands off and you just let it go in the Instant Pot for 24 hours. And while that yogurt is cooling back down, I decided to make a big batch of sauerkraut with all the cabbages that were ready to be picked in the garden. Using all of our garden vegetables has also been another learning curve for me. My husband is the one that loves to garden and grows the big garden. Honestly, I don't really know all that much about gardening and when to plant what crops. However, I really enjoy having a big garden, so I'm so thankful that he really likes doing all of that. But the first couple years that we had a big garden, I let a lot of vegetables go to waste because I didn't harvest them on time, or I didn't know how to use them all in my daily cooking or preserve them. So this year, it is a big goal of mine to harvest vegetables on time. I think that's like one of the biggest key to using the vegetables is being on top of harvesting them at the right time, and then either using them in your weekly meal rotation or learning how to preserve them. And now that the cabbages are ready, I wanted to get a big batch of sauerkraut going. The next thing that I want to get going in the kitchen this week is some burger buns, because burgers are one of our favorite simple summertime meals. But every time I want them, it seems like I don't have buns on hand. So that's one of the things that I really wanted to get going this week so that I could add burgers fresh from our farm to the menu. Now that the yogurt is done and chilled, I need to do something with it because I also don't need gallons of yogurt just sitting in the refrigerator. So with this batch, I just simply put it in the blender with some frozen mixed berries and syrup to sweeten it up a bit. And then I made popsicles for the kids. Those have been a really big hit. They've been loving them, and it's a great way to use up yogurt. So I've been making so many popsicles. Also, I made a few containers of frozen yogurt for our Ninja Creamy. We have been really enjoying the homemade ice cream from the Creamy, and I noticed it also has a frozen yogurt button. So I decided to get some frozen yogurt going as well. Honestly, using all this milk has sort of turned into a job, but I actually do enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to learning how to make some ricotta cheese and mozzarella cheese next, because I read that those are just really easy beginner level cheeses, and they're a great way to use up a lot of that extra milk. Those are what's next on my homemade dairy making products. For now, we've just been really enjoying drinking the raw milk, a lot of homemade yogurt, and the homemade ice cream. So if you have any other dairy recipes or ways to use that good raw milk from the farm, I would love to hear that, because I'm excited to keep trying new things and making sure none of this farm fresh milk goes to waste. As I mentioned earlier, the cows were out on some cover crops, our spring oats that we planted last fall, but now it was time to move them back to our regular pasture ground. So this evening, when my husband got home from work, we went out and we got the cows moved back to their pasture. So now we will go back to our regular rotational grazing system on our summer pastures. I let the burger buns ferment in the refrigerator for a couple days because I really wasn't sure what evening we would be having burgers. So tonight, that is what's on the menu. I got my buns shaped and doing the final rise, and picked some lettuce so that we could just simply have some burgers and salads for dinner this evening. I also noticed we had a lot of volunteer cosmos from our pollinator blend last summer, so I picked a few of those to get my first bouquet of flowers inside the house. That is one of my favorite things about summertime, is switching out the dried flowers to picking weekly bouquets of fresh flowers. Oftentimes on the farm, you just go from one busy season to the next, it seems like. So it's really important to just slow down and enjoy this lifestyle. And one of my favorite ways to really enjoy farm life is by just using all the things that we are raising and growing. So I've been having a lot of fun adding dairy into that list of things that we raise here on the farm and just trying to learn how to make so many new things. I've also found that once you get into the routine of cooking from scratch, remembering to have the meat thawed, using whatever vegetables are coming out of the garden, cooking with the seasons, it really isn't all that complicated and meals can actually come together fairly quickly. There are a lot of nights when me and my husband will sit down for dinner and just look at our plates and talk about how we raised or grew so much of what's on our plates, and we're just trying more and more. So fresh herbs from our garden is a new thing this year. Of course, the milk cow, expanding our garden, and most importantly, just trying to use all of this stuff that we're raising and growing and not letting any of it go to waste. Now, of course, I know that we don't have to raise and grow everything to cook from scratch and to eat healthy. You could just grow a few things, or maybe that does not interest you at all. I think it's kind of a natural thing as a farmer is we just enjoy doing it. We enjoy growing things and raising the animals and then just seeing that full picture. I always think another great example of just that love for doing things can also relate to like sewing, or people that really love to work with their hands, do some woodworking, just any of those sort of hobbies where there's definitely a faster and more convenient way, but you just love the art of doing it. I have a couple sisters that just really enjoy sewing, and we often have this conversation. It is like they realize it's not cheaper to sew your own garments. It's certainly not more convenient, but it's just the art of doing it that makes it so enjoyable. And although I have absolutely no desire to sew, I do love animal husbandry and gardening, and then using all of that and cooking from scratch. I feel like it's all along the same lines, knowing that not necessarily the quicker way or the easier way for sure, but it's just the art of doing it. So all of that to simply say, with farm life, the work is truly never done. There's always more chores, always more projects, something that can be done. But in it all, you just have to slow down and enjoy it and remember why you're doing it. And a lot of times that daily reminder for me just comes in the food that I'm making for my family. So I really enjoyed a little bit slower of a week where I could spend more time in the kitchen just cooking up everything that we've been raising and growing on the farm so far this year. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for following along. I look forward to sharing more.